Vadge, Vadge, Vadge. What you gonna do when it's hot outside? Ooh, I know what. Listen to Vadge. What you gonna do when the trains are down? Ooh, I know what. Listen to Vadge.
You know when you have a bad high five?
Ooh, yeah, or a bad handshake with someone?
Yeah,
you just end up going
bad.
like that.
It's almost like you have to go home and start all over your
whole day.
Yeah. I've
tried doing that where you do like a handshake with a black person and they're doing it a lot better than you. And you're like, let's just stick to fist bumps.
Oh, yeah. I did a fist bump. I know people have talked about this before, but now we're doing fist bumps and handshakes and hugging. I don't even know that I ended up like covering somebody's.
So you did rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors, which is kind of a more dominating move.
I like that move.
It's like I established
dominance.
Yeah, that I was the male in the relationship.
Right. So if
it was to another guy.
If you were in prison, you would have been fucking him.
Yeah.
That's a good move.
I think I'm gonna just keep doing that with fist bumps.
Don't you want to not even touch people, especially with like cold season?
Yeah.
And the mic.
Well,
when spitting on it.
Oh, when I was at Vermont Comedy Club 2 weekends ago, everybody had a cold and they were all coughing on all the punchlines.
Ooh.
It was so bad that I had
to... coughing on the punchlines?
No, the audience members.
So you had to be like, hey, I'm gonna do that again because the front row just coughed through this. What's hilarious? I did a show.
Yes.
At the Cellar last week, and it's a great audience, and there's two guys sitting right near where the piano is.
Yeah.
So that's like right for people watching this. That's like front row on the side.
It's really close.
It's front row on the side, and then one guy has his feet on the stage, which already to me is so disrespectful.
Yeah.
But like, I would let it go, but then he also was talking through the whole show.
Yeah, in the front row.
Right.
That's like, go to the back. There's so... You can talk in the way back.
Should I end this? I think because that's on. Is that going to do anything?
Oh, no, that won't do anything. Is that...
No, it's fine. I don't know why that is. I was calling myself also.
Oh. That was our guy.
So the guy, yeah, so he won't shut up. And I stop him, like, make it... You know, why does it keep saying I'm calling myself?
I don't know. That's really weird. I didn't know that's touchdown.
That's weird. I don't know. Maybe because the car's on.
That's okay. So, the guy's talking.
No, I just have all the lights on. Fuck. Jesus Christ. We don't
Guys,
know
our podcast is just going down the drain.
And I'm still calling myself. Why?
Why don't you... Here, let's go to your settings and put it on airplane mode.
Okay, that's good.
There we go.
Smart.
And then, look, I can do tech.
You can.
I'm our tech person. I'm the tech person in Joe's and I's relationship. Where's your recorder?
I don't know. Did it go bye-bye?
Where's the app?
This is it.
Oh.
No, we stopped recording. What the fuck?
That's alright. We'll just have a little area that is funky.
We don't know what we're doing, guys.
We're going on the tubes. Do you ever slowly think, sometimes when you don't get a lot of spots in 1 week, you're like, am I getting phased out?
Sometimes I'll just be like...
I think some people are slowly firing me.
No, I'm just like, I'm almost being forced to quit. Where you're like, I'm going to have to just start saying I quit because I wanted to go back to school.
I bet you, if you tried to quit, you couldn't quit because then to quit naturally, just be like, but you don't tell anybody, but you still are getting spots. You know what I mean? Like, as long as they're coming in, I always say yes. But how long, let's say if I was like, I'm going to quit, how long would it actually take me to quit with spots?
Would you put it on Facebook where you're like, I'm quitting, so then everyone would be like, don't quit?
I know. Well, I don't want to do that because then I also, the fear of like when you say that and people are like, well, what do you think you're going to, you know what I mean? Like they're not.
They're like, we agree with this decision.
Yes.
Wait, let me tell you about this dumb guy at the
Cellar.
So
we got
sidetracked because we don't know what we're doing, especially me.
So it's not your fault. Your phone had a glitch.
So I embarrass him.
Of course. That's all we know how to do.
That's all I know how to do. To the point where he's now ruining everyone else's night. So then he starts doing it again. I get off stage.
He's a child.
He's also from Australia.
They're the worst.
Yes. So then he gets talked to by...
Sorry,
Mel.
Michael Ricardo.
Oh, sorry, Michael Ricardo. Oh, that's right. Doesn't he get upset you hate Australians?
Yeah, I don't really, but like, I do like, you guys are bad tippers, so.
Oh, I find Australians usually very good, like, sense of humor, though.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah, so it was really only one guy. So he
Yeah.
gets talked to after, and they're like, hey, you can't talk to during the show. And his response is, well, whenever I hear somebody say something, I have to give my point of view on it. So she's like, yeah, like, you can't do that here. So he was giving his point of view on all of my jokes to his friend.
That's crazy.
That's what he was doing. And the guy he was with was like, hey, I come here a lot. I'm sorry. He's being a dickhead. But,
Yeah.
like, the other guy was cool.
I want to know what his point of view is to...
I have no idea. I would have actually, if he started with that, I would have said I'm interested to hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He
You're
just
like-
kept talking.
Now I want to know what your point of view is.
He didn't say that to me, though.
Yeah, and then it's also like, if a person has like a point of view on jokes, you're like, I don't think you understand jokes.
Yeah, I think he was, I don't know if I brought up something political, maybe, where he just had a different stance. But, like, he talked throughout my whole set.
Yeah.
So he didn't agree with anything I had to say and had to give his
Weird.
point of view.
What a loser.
You're gonna make, what's his name, Michael Ricardo?
Yeah. I hope he's not mad that we used his full name.
I mean,
But he's really nice.
he's very nice.
He's like our #1 fan.
I think he's our #1 fan.
Shout out.
Shout out to Michael Ricardo.
Yeah, thanks for the positive feedback. We got an email wanting to know what happened, and I didn't run a reply back until I
Oh, talk to me.
talked to you.
I guess we'll talk about it offset.
Okay.
This is the big.
We're going back again.
More on our green
Guys, we'll start another tier
for real
for
secrets.
real secrets.
The secrets that
If you want to know more, you gotta give us like $1 or so.
For real.
Some of those, like, I don't mind telling. You just don't want to have it on a public forum to be shared. But by just
email
telling
is still
somebody,
traceable though.
that's true.
There should be a way that you can call somebody and tell them something, or text them and it just disappears.
Yeah, like one of
I
those
guess
messages that blows up.
Ooh, did you hear? Fred told me that there was a story about some guy who walked into a bathroom and said, "I'm going to blow this place up," but he meant take a shit, and somebody called the cops on him. Like, that's where we're at in society, where some guy was like, "No, I meant take a dump and blow this place up."
I just love a guy. He's probably like, it sounds like something that would happen at a sports arena. Somebody drunk and they're just like, "Woo!
I'm gonna blow this
this
place
place
up.
up.
And then he gets the cops called and he's
Everyone's
like,
like-
"Oh, I just was gonna shit really bad."
No, yeah." And then they're like, "All right, guys, he's just gonna shit."
I did a show in Germantown.
Where's that?
That's a show I did in Maryland.
Okay.
And
Oh yeah, we were talking about, we do these gigs every now and then that like I'm doing Boston and they're paying me $300, and then after I'd looked at all the research of the best way to get there for the least amount of money, it's half of the money.
You would be better off having a comic drive you there and give them half of your set.
Yeah.
Like midway while you're on stage, be like, "And now I have to have the guy that drove me here.
He will finish it out.
He's gonna do, what is it, like a 15-20 minute set?"
Yeah, it's probably not long.
You're like, "Can't you just take something, or like let me do these?" It's not worth it. Yeah, so that show I got paid a little bit more than that, but it's like a 4.5 hour each way.
Yeah.
Then the guy wanted us there 45 minutes before, and I was like, "No way."
Yeah.
What's, like, I'm in, and then he called me and he was annoyed. I was like, "Hey, I'm 5 minutes away." He goes, "Okay, park in the back." So I know he was not thrilled.
You're like, I will be there. I don't know if they do that because they had some comics in the past just show up
Well, they said
way late.
they said the people that did it last time showed up at 7:45 and there was a snowstorm and they were freaking out. I'm like, so the fact that they showed up during a snowstorm, you're still upset?
Yeah, well, it's like when we went to Philly, most of it like was my fault because it took me forever to get up to the Bronx that day, and it was a
It
snowstorm.
was a snowstorm.
We were an hour late, weren't we?
Brigante drove us. There was a snowstorm. He was sick.
Bless his heart.
He also didn't feel well.
Yeah.
We drove there and it was in this hookah bar, right?
For 3 people. And they made us do 2 shows, right?
They made us do 2 shows, but I think initially we were going to do, 45 minutes each or a half hour each?
Yeah.
And I think we got it down to 12 minutes each. It was such a nightmare.
It was really sad because then you realize we were like, if Bill Cosby was here during the height of his
career,
of the controversy,
okay, more people would have showed
or his
up.
rape, more people would have gone to see Bill Cosby than us.
Would you still go to see Bill Cosby?
I guess I would be intrigued. Yeah.
I've never really loved his stand-up. I do, like, forget about, like, all the accusations.
Yeah.
I've never been a huge Bill Cosby stand-up fan. I appreciate that he's able to tell stories and be interesting and funny. So, like, I would go see him now because he has these allegations. But if it never happened, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah, now
So
he
I
has,
wonder-
like, a little mystique about him.
It would be interesting if he actually talked about it, but he won't.
Oh, you know that he does not think what he did was wrong. There's, like, a lot of rapists actually don't think what they did is wrong.
No, because they keep doing it.
Especially the ones that are, like, when the girl is passed out.
They're like, if a tree falls in the forest, does it really fall if no one's there to see it? Is
Yeah.
that kind of what they're saying?
And if she wakes up and is like, I feel weird, but, like, just a little groggy.
Somebody asked me how I felt about the Weinstein video.
Oh, the one where the female comics, I forgot what one of their names was, but yeah.
So somebody asked me about that, and I was like, because I think they were trying to just be in the middle.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, what do you think about it? I'm like, I don't know. If it was me, I might have done something similar. I think I would have tried to make it funny, which I think we've talked about.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what about all the people that came there to see a show? It's like they're kind of ruining their time. I'm like,
I think it's odd to invite a guy like that to a show like that.
well, and then this person also brought up a fact where he's like, well,
Was this person a guy?
yes.
Okay.
But he wasn't really leading one or he was like, I really don't know how I feel. He's like, I'm just asking questions. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, what about that he's going to go to trial? Like, don't we just let that? I said, honestly, I think the point is he's done it so much where everyone can't be lying and people, like, public opinion kind of matters more than anything else.
Yeah, I do understand where he's going with that. Is
Right,
like,
he's
this
gonna-
guy will be out in public.
And he's going to go to trial, and if he gets off, he gets off.
Yeah, I mean, O.J. Simpson doesn't deal with the amount of abuse that, I wouldn't say abuse, but like,
I think people, this is going to sound weird, but I think because he killed 2 people in his life, it's almost like he's not hurting everybody else.
yeah,
Like, it's weird that I think people are like, well, he did that to his wife and whoever else, and it's almost like that's on them.
where like the Harvey Weinstein is a representation of a bigger problem that,
Like a systemic problem in the
Yeah.
entertainment business.
but it's like Mike Tyson went to prison for rape and he didn't,
He went to prison though.
I know he paid his dues, but that's what I do understand. I just feel like it's like bad taste for that person to invite Harvey Weinstein to a gig that's supposed to help artists. But if they were at a restaurant eating dinner and it wasn't an event, then, you know, I don't know anything good can come from just like yelling to his face. It's like remember all those Republicans when they would go eat and then all these Democrats or those crazy would just yell
just
at their
scream at
face.
them?
Yeah, where I was like, well, you're a monster.
Well, now we're jumping around, but that show in Germantown, I looked it up beforehand. It's like mostly liberal people, and the median age was like 60, 65.
That's pretty old.
Yeah, it was not my target audience. Like, I knew as soon as I went out there, I'm like, you guys are not my target audience.
Now, you do these gigs actually on a frequent basis. How do you get these? And I'm always amazed that
Somebody asked me, the guy that I said, he asked me to do, he goes, can you be clean? I'm like, yeah, I can be clean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just the subject
can.
matter might be dark,
yeah, you're not vulgar
but
and you don't cuss.
not really. I did say fuck by accident, and I wasn't supposed to. But I stayed away from a lot of dark stuff
Yeah.
and just kind of did whatever. It wasn't a very free experience.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean? Like,
no,
you know what I mean?
I
Like, you're
know.
in your head, you're like, this is what I could say, this is what I can't say. It wasn't
You
fun.
can't be you.
No. Like,
And that's
that
the
is
worst.
that is strictly just for money.
Yeah, you're just going to pick it up.
Right. So then after we're there for a couple of hours, they do 2 comics and intermission, which is an awful idea. The last comic goes on, and then we do an intermission. And after that, we do a Q&A, which is... You've done a Q&A too, right? For that show, you said you did awful on?
Q&A.
Or you did a meet and greet, right?
Yeah, I've done meet and greets.
We did a Q&A.
Oh, okay. I think I'd rather do a Q&A so it's a set time and people can ask questions or do whatever. The meet and greet afterwards could go on forever, and then some people really dominate your time, and then you see people waiting to take a photo or like say something nice to Joe or I or whatever, and all I'm focusing on is this person that's talking to me be like, all right, we've been here for 10 minutes. We gotta let other people.
Oh yeah,
say.
10 minutes is too long.
Yeah, like it just aren't too long of a time. I appreciate it, but it makes me feel bad for the other people, so I don't enjoy it.
Yeah, I wouldn't enjoy that either. But we did a Q&A, which went on for probably 20 minutes.
Oh my god, that's long.
It was a pretty long time. And then
What were the questions they asked you?
Mom, one guy said something about, like, what was your big break? And I was like, nothing. I'm doing this show. Like, honestly, if I had a big break, do you think I would be doing this show in Germantown?
That's so sweet, though. But I
It
get
is sweet.
I know.
I think they're so far removed from this type of lifestyle.
Yeah.
But at one point, they were being so uptight with jokes, and I was like, you guys are the reason why people are voting Republican. Because
Yeah.
you're so uptight, and everyone hates that.
Yeah. Loosen up.
So they were pretty good. That was one question. There was another question, like, who were some of your, inspiration, I guess, comics that you like growing up, or how many shows do you do a week, or, stuff like that. How'd you get into this?
Yeah.
What was your worst show?
Oh, yeah.
It was stuff like that. Stuff that, like, normal people are kind of amazed at.
Yes. I have that at my job, or the temp job. They've slowly found out that I do stand-up, but then I think they think I'm only 2 years in.
How do they know you do stand-up?
Because the girl who wanted me to stay there longer or actually work the job, I was just like, yeah, I don't want it. Like, I want to do the other stuff. And then also, the temp agency always ends up telling them anyway.
Why?
I don't know. They just always find out before I say anything. But usually it's like, how long have you been doing? Like, the more questions they ask, it's just like, the more depressing it gets. And then you're like, oh, I say 15, even though it's way longer. But then they're like, oh. And then they're like, how many times do you go up? And you're like, I can average it sometimes averages about 2 to 3 times a night. And then they're like, oh my God. So then they're starting to realize that you're like, yeah,
people
I'm
think you're
doing all right.
People think you're doing it as a hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, you want to be like, I've been on TV. Like,
I know, but I guess to them, they don't really know how it, like, most people don't know how it translates,
No. Well, I was tweeting that today. I was like, I've been on TV several times for comedy. It's kind of like, I'd like to pretend when I'm receptioning, I'm actually like a guest celebrity receptionist, like a guest DJ.
Ooh, so they're like, I can't believe you're here answering our phones.
It's fun and wacky.
You kind of are a celebrity. You're not bringing up your biggest accomplishment.
Yeah.
You got that tweet that got, like, what, 6,000 followers from you?
I was not, that is a tweet that I send out right before I left work, and it just hit on the day that T.I. had, or the few days, it was just zeitgeisty, and then I had the right people, like Nikki retweeted, and then it just took off, and it was about 2 days of just people retweeting it. It got like 16,000 faves and 1,000 retweets, and then I pretty much doubled my Twitter following.
Isn't it crazy that you've done TV multiple times, and how many followers did you get from them?
Maybe 100. It's not a lot.
So it really does show you that, like, doing late night sets really is nothing.
It's nothing.
It's much better to get somebody
To do
like
better on social media.
Yeah, Because Trevor's like, why don't you just post more stuff on social media? I'm like,
You have to.
I know, but it's like, then I have to pay it. I have to care. Right now, I just don't have to care.
Yeah, but I don't know. I watched your Letterman set, and I was like, this is a great set, and you have so much stuff that you can just throw up.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I'll put it up tomorrow.
I was looking at it today. I was like,
Ooh.
this Adrian.
Oh, yeah, I don't know how to do it.
Do it between the hours of 11 and 2.
How do I do it?
And then I'll share it.
How do I do it?
You just post it. It's less than a minute, so you don't have to do IGTV.
Ooh, okay.
Then just be like, you know,
I'm doing this
I'm a feminist.
2 years late.
Yeah.
This is the type of feminist I am.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with Netflix, if it helps us
I
at
hope
all.
so.
If people get offended or
I think
not.
it'll be good. You'll be able to do, at least if it doesn't get you. I want people to be offended because I want you to get
Well, what's interesting...
some heat.
It
And
would be
you're
nice.
only going to get that with controversy.
Well, I wanted to know if I could... So, Netflix... Did I talk about this? How they took out one of my jokes and I was really upset about it?
Mm-hmm.
Did we talk about that on here?
We didn't talk about it on here, but I know that
So,
you're upset about it.
Yeah, I was upset they took out that joke only because it was in the middle of a bunch of other jokes and now it's by itself. And like, I would, if they said, hey, because I did have to send them a set, I would have been like, hey, I'll just take this chunk and save it for like a special or
Yeah,
something.
so you don't burn it.
So now I have this one joke
Yeah.
that is too offensive by itself. And it fit perfectly in there.
Yeah, because a lot of times you say a statement
Mm-hmm.
that rocks and then you soften it with your
Right.
explanation.
Right,
And it's
so...
ridiculous.
I know.
Meaning like it's funny.
Yeah, part of me wants to like promote the Netflix thing and be like, this is the joke they took out.
Yeah.
And tag that guy in it. From the shooting.
Oh my God.
What do you think would happen?
I don't know. I don't think that would go over pretty well.
Maybe.
But you tag one of the Parkland victims?
Yeah.
Ugh.
He's not gonna like it.
No, but I feel like that's not gonna be great.
It'll be controversy.
Well, I think you could still put that joke, but I don't know if you could tag
I'm not
it.
gonna actually tag
I
him.
know.
But
But like
it,
so like
probably-
he's like, what?
it probably would get to him though.
Oh yeah. Are you talking about the hog guy?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I feel like he is the holder of school shootings. Like he's their like principal.
Yeah, he hit it big with that school shooting.
What do you think he's been doing?
Well, he got accepted to Harvard with below SAT scores.
Because he's famous.
Yes. And I think his extracurricular activities of like being a social justice warrior and like
Yeah.
he's gotten very political, so I think that they like that, and so they were probably like, we'll take a low SAT score.
Just for some free publicity.
Yeah.
Because that's what's gonna happen.
So he's thriving.
What's he doing?
In a weird way, it's so gross to say this, but sometimes like that is like the best thing that could ever happen to somebody.
Oh, of course. And look, I would never tag him in that joke. I was just
I know,
saying
no,
it
no.
to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
Can you
he's gonna
imagine?
talk about how his success came about. And he has to be like, it was clearly after that shooting.
Yeah, he would just be...
He can't just be like, well, I graduated high school and then things really just took a turn for me.
Yeah.
Be like, was there one thing in your life that happened? Be like, no, it was a bunch of small stuff. Like, what's he gonna say?
Yeah. And you're like, if it didn't happen, you would just be some activist without any heat. You're like, really... I mean, Greta Thunberg is the only one that's done it without a school shooting behind her.
What is she doing now? Is she writing books?
She's doing like press. She's the one that was like, I shouldn't be here. Climate change.
Wait.
Remember her?
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
remember her, but is she from here?
No, she's like Swedish.
And she
But
was,
she has like an Englishy accent.
but where is she talking about that?
It's some climate thing.
It's because people love accents. If she went there and had my voice, nobody would care. It's so true.
I know, but it's like, sometimes I'm thinking, why does this girl get all the heat? I think she tried to travel in a boat. It's just really like fascinating how some people with their activism picks up steam and then other people, it's like comedy. There's probably going to be some activists that were like, I was talking about climate change at her age and I didn't get half the shit that she gets.
I'm still a receptionist.
Yeah.
They're like, I had to give up caring about whatever this garbage was, and now I'm a receptionist.
And she's like hanging out with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Ooh, I wonder if he'll have her back into his cock.
Maybe.
Beep,
do you think
beep,
that
beep. It'd be so funny if he had them wear those things, like when you
Oh, yeah.
something, he goes beep. I just love the
and then
idea
his
of
buddy's
him
just like waving you in like a at the airport, like
Ooh.
ones or when you parallel park, they're like this. So, no, stop.
Or when you get an oil change, they do that. They're like a little more to the right, a
Yeah.
little more to the left. I like how the idea, I don't even know if it's true or not, him having sex with a girl, not even seeing her face, and having headphones on the whole time. It's like he's working out at the gym.
Yeah. There's gotta be that's like, I would love to be the girl that tells everyone that she had sex with Leonardo DiCaprio and then everyone's like excited for her, and then when she starts explaining the details of it.
You can't say that's what happened. First of all, I think at some point.
How was it? Well, I didn't see his face too much, but I think we had a real connection.
I think as soon as you're in there, if you turn your head around, he's probably like, next. There's probably just a door where she has to go, like, crawl out through. Do you think he at least gives them a bag, like when you go to the Oscars and they give you a bunch of, like, fun stuff?
I hope so. But I guess maybe you don't even need to sign an NDA. You were so, like, the act was so derogatory towards you that you're like, it's too embarrassing to share with my friends.
Yeah, I mean, I guess any of us could say that it happened to us. Do you want to plug your phone in?
Sure. But,
yeah, I just don't think...
I also wonder, as much as, like, in my mind, I'd like to be like, this is if I wasn't with Joe. Knowing that full well that, like, Leonardo DiCaprio would never have anything interested being, like, in a relationship, but if he was like, do you want to have sex, would I do it?
Do you think if I went on stage saying I had sex with Leonardo DiCaprio, I would get back to him and he'd be like, why are you saying that? Like, I wonder if I could say that.
I think you could say it. We could just say it.
I'm going to say that story was about me and I had to back up into his cock.
Yeah, it was really hard.
Yeah. I mean...
At first I was, like, rubbing my pussy all over his coffee table. He was getting so mad at me.
He's like, wait, what are you doing? You're so far from the goal.
You're like, I thought that was your cock. You won't let me look at you.
Yeah, you're like, it's pitch black in here.
Can I get her?
This car off, but your phone won't turn. No, wait, it restarted.
We started. We have, yeah, I'll just put it together. We've done it.
This
guys, we will get back on track again next week. It's just, I just don't have the time to go pick up the equipment and pay all the money.
Where do you get it from?
It's like B&H. B&H is all the way on 10th Avenue. It's so frustrating. I mean, I guess we could do an Amazon, like, right away.
Can we just order one?
Yeah. And then I'll ask Joe if I can borrow his tomorrow.
Sorry, guys. We're having a lot of technical difficulties.
That's all right. So I guess what we're saying is that we are going to say that we had sex with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Ooh, do you want to say we did it together?
Yeah.
And that we both had a back in and
Yeah.
we bumped into each other? Imagine having a threesome with him where two of you have to back in.
Or I didn't even know that you were in the room. Like, he didn't let me know that there's one other person. And then I'm like, Adrian?
It'd be funny if you had to get, like, those little reflectors that people on bikes have to have.
Oh, yeah.
See.
God, it's just so, like, demoralizing to think that some girls would have sex with a celebrity in that realm.
But what do you get out of that? Just
I
saying
don't
that,
know.
that Leonardo DiCaprio fucked your hole?
I guess so, because I bet you're not even coming.
No way.
Yeah.
First of all, you have to be nervous not to even just shit on his bed. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so much going on where you're like, I have to back in.
Like, not only
I can't look at
you're
him.
quiet.
He's going to be listening to music. Like, there's so much you're up against where you're like, how do I not just shit on his bed?
I know. Like, if he's listening to music, I guess I would just try to start a conversation and have fun pretending that he's not even.
So you would just start talking to him like he wasn't listening to you.
Yeah, I would just say like crazy shit to see.
I bet too you would be able to tell when a song started and ended depending on if he changed the way he was fucking.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, that rap song just started. Or you'd be like, or that's a Metallica song.
Oh, this is a playlist, not an album. It's 'cause it's a little all over the place right now. That in your head, this is what your facial expression is like. This. Okay, yeah, I know what's going on right now.
It's
like,
so weird. Why wouldn't you just jerk off?
Yeah. I don't know. Or get a flashlight, because that's really what. If he's fucking girls like that, that's really what he's turned them into, is just little flashlights.
Yeah, and he also probably is like, they can't turn around. I wonder if he gives you knee pads to back into the room with.
I don't know. If that was the case, I would just get mad and be like, you know I'm going to have your baby.
How? I'm sure he's wearing a condom.
Do you think so?
You think he's not wearing a condom and he's just... First of all, any of those girls would love to get pregnant by him.
I know. I'm actually surprised it hasn't happened to him.
He probably just pays for abortions, like, right and left.
Yeah.
He probably owns part of Planned Parenthood. It'd be cool if Planned
Or
Parenthood...
like, you know in Cribs when they had their own Starbucks?
Like he'd have his own bowling alley and his own Planned Parenthood in his head.
For his own, like, his girls can get the morning after pill.
I would think he makes them take that before sex.
Yeah.
No, maybe, I guess right after.
I think you can take it before sex.
That'd be funny if he just had like a Planned Parenthood clinic.
God, I would love that as a celebrity Cribs.
That's such a good idea.
Remember like, yo. I know that he talks that way, but it just makes me feel like that's how everybody answered their door for Cribs.
Remember when they used to do, like, trick people's cars out? If they had just, like, a little abortion clinic in the back?
Yeah.
You got into Starbucks.
On your way home?
Yeah, you just got into Starbucks and got vacuumed out.
And you're like, all right. Your just head's in the window, like.
That was great. Thank you. So, should I call you or are you going to call me?
I had a really great time.
What can you say about that?
I don't know. I feel like I've had hookups like that where you're like, oh, I did not matter to this person whatsoever.
I think when you're drinking, it's hard. It's weird not to.
Well, I told you about that one guy that I hooked up. This was like, I think he ended up being like the second sexual partner that I've ever had.
The guy you went to his house?
It was the first time I moved to LA. He was a friend of my roommate who I don't even consider to be that great of a guy, and it was one of his friends that they were in recovery together for heroin addiction. So obviously right then, they were sober when
A lot of times guys that have really bad drug addiction can't get their dicks up.
Yeah, well, he was fine. But
maybe he didn't do it that bad. Like, why does your dick still work?
He basically came over one night. This is so depressing. It was so depressing. And then he basically, I thought we were going to have like a moment. He basically just like turned me over and then we had sex and then he was like gone. And then I was like, it was like, that didn't feel amazing.
No, that doesn't feel like it would.
It was just like depressing. And then I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to continue letting this guy come over like at 1 in the morning.
Basically do that.
And then he called another time and they came over and then and then he brought his friend and then he wanted me to do that to his friend, and the way I was like, that's not, and then he felt really bad, but it was one of those things like
where that guy was like, oh, I'm sure she's gonna like this. What a weird thing to just assume like you're gonna want to fuck his friend.
I know. And then it was so depressing, and then he left, and then he called back and apologized, and then of course, like, you know, you're like 19 and you're just like,
oh, you're young.
Yeah, you're just kind of like this. No, it's fine, I get it. Like, you know what I'm like, when really you should just be like, yeah, this isn't for me. You should probably find somebody else.
Let's track that guy down and say that you do not, you responded that way, but that's not the real way you want to
I wish
respond.
I could.
Do you know who he is?
Honestly, now I don't even remember his name. I think it was a Jewish last name.
Weinstein. Was
Cohen.
it Weinstein?
I think it was a Cohen, and it might have been a Michael.
I feel like there's
That's
a
a very-
million Michael Cohens.
Never gonna find him.
Well, if anyone out there is fucking a Michael Cohen, ask him if he's fucked.
He's probably
Sarah Talbot.
42.
Okay.
He wouldn't even remember.
He might.
Yeah, but I remember just being like, yeah, you're like, I've never met guys like that before. Before, and you would just date and then have sex, and this guy was just like, clearly, just using me for sex.
I didn't like fuck a lot of people when I was drinking, but I would hook up, and like I just remember like hooking up with one guy. I was kind of young too. I was probably like early 20s,
Yeah.
and it was like me and my friend hooked up with his friend, and I hooked up with him, and I remember him just telling me that he had a small dick, and I was like that's not
He
gonna.
told you?
He said that to me. He's like, I have like a really small dick, and I was like, well, why wouldn't you bring this up sooner? Like, now we're back at the hotel. My friend is like fucking your friend on the couch.
You're also like, well, how small? Are you just doing that as your tactic that it's bigger than...
He was kind of tiny.
Okay.
So I wasn't.
That
I don't
sucks.
think I actually saw. So I don't think I actually saw it, and all I remember is we were wrecked, and like my friend and his friend started having sex, and then something happened where they stopped, and then we went to Burger King. Like we were in
That sounds about right.
New Orleans,
Yeah.
and we were just wrecked.
Yeah. Yeah, not great. That's the thing, I don't think I've ever seen in life a small penis, but my heart breaks for those guys.
Like I've seen a small enough penis where I was like uncomfortable sucking it because I felt like a pedophile.
Yeah.
Like where I'm like, this is questionable.
Isn't that weird that, like, guys want us to have tight pussies like we're 8?
Yeah, but
And
we
then,
don't
like-
want them to have dicks like they're 8.
Yeah, because then it just feels like we're with, like, a little
child?
and it's inappropriate.
I mean, a small dick is hard. It's hard to work with.
I wish there's, like, you could put Play-Doh around it
To make it bigger?
to make it bigger, like, mold a bigger dick over it.
I mean, I think that's
Like, when you get that little fake tooth, and then when they saw it down, and then they put the
tooth
veneer.
over it.
Yeah.
So you're saying like veneer dicks.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think I could just keep putting bologna on it? And
Yeah,
then
until
fuck
it's
that?
to the right.
And then put a condom on it and fuck it? Could you do that? I don't know. It's hard to date
It's
somebody
like,
with a small
I'm
dick.
working with very crude resources.
I remember one time. So this is how.
You're like, I think I can make this work.
I'm like, hold on, I got some lunch meat. Stay right here.
It's okay. It's okay.
I remember going to Alan and like talking to him about being upset about dating with someone with a small dick. Like that was my.
Okay, that's
that
so
was
fascinating.
That was actually like a 2-session thing where it was an issue.
I am so intrigued because sometimes it feels kind of weird to bring up sex stuff with Alan,
Sure.
but I don't feel completely uncomfortable
But you're also
doing
in love
it.
with him.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be hard to bring up to your therapist other guys in front of him. So I get that. You're in love with him. Why don't you wait until you guys are on a break?
Oh, I don't know. That's so funny. I'm not in love with him.
I know, I'm kidding.
I know.
But I could well, it's also uncomfortable for you because he also sees Joe.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it's also just like, I guess because I've only had female therapists, and also he's a way older guy that it's like a father figure that I'm telling my sex stuff to. But I haven't gotten like depth, but I did tell him one time of like, times where I end up doing something that I don't want to do, and because I feel bad because I have to deal with somebody's energy, and a lot of times it's like saying no to sex.
Yeah.
Because at that moment I don't feel like it, but I'd rather just do it
Then to have to say no.
than to say no, and that's what I used, and I felt uncomfortable talking about sex that way.
To him.
Yeah. But how did he handle it with you?
Well, I asked him if certain things could have happened that would make his dick not grow. I mean,
Like a car wreck that stunted his growth when he was
Yeah, I just started asking him if certain things could have happened to like make his dick small.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't think so. But it was an issue for me. I don't remember what he said at the time because it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he was just like, well, do you like other things about them? Or like, it might have been an issue and you've been like, well, then you can't date this person.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not like a size queen.
Yeah.
Also, the best way to measure a guy's dick is in your hand, see where it lines up.
Yeah.
And then I did that and saw it was about 4 1/4.
Okay.
Which is not great.
But Alan's right. Like, if this is just like you can't get over it, you just have to. You can't force something.
I think I had just saw this guy a little bit and then that was it.
Yeah.
But it is hard to. Yeah, how do you introduce a small dick into a relationship? It feels like telling someone you have a child.
Yeah, it's like a sit down and within a few dates. It's kind
of like herpes.
Yeah.
Where you have to be like, so this is an issue that I'm dealing with.
But at least like herpes comes around every now and then. It's not even that pressing. Like a small dick, you have to deal with all the time.
True, but the one thing about herpes, even though it's not all the time, you have to have that uncomfortable conversation.
True.
Which I think, you're right.
Joe did that on stage.
Right, that was the best way for you to find out. With everybody else. But like a small dick, I do think there's a point where you have to be like, so we need to talk about this.
Yeah.
But
can you imagine if you're like, but you can't do that with a tight pussy. Like, I need to tell you something.
Well, I guess you could do it with a loose pussy.
True. I just like to.
Or maybe you could just put some bologna in it.
Or they're like, how tight is it? And you're like, it's really tight. Like, it hurts.
To put a tampon in?
Yeah. Or like,
I don't think that's fun.
A guy couldn't get in there.
And then he's like, I'll do it. I'll be the hero. I'll save the day.
Okay, Excalibur. Like,
thank you.
If you can, then you can be king.
All right, what is your most uncomfortable sexual experience with somebody? And like, what have you thought while it's happening? Like, what are some of the things you think about, like, if you've had sex with someone in the past where you're, like, not that into it? I do remember, I think I've said this, blowing an ex-boyfriend to the theme song.
Of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
It
9.
did help me get through it.
I have slept with guys that I was not really, like, anywhere near being sexually attractive. Man, when you get sober and you're trying to figure out who are the right people for you, and then you're like, maybe I should go against my intuition.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I dated this guy. He was a nice guy, but it was just like not anyone that I would remotely ever be close to being sexually attracted to. And he had the worst breath, and I think it had a lot to do with pot.
That's awful. I can't date someone with terrible breath.
It was horrific.
I remember I went on like a first date with somebody that was in program. I met them at a diner, I think, after my set. And I was like instantly not attracted to him. That's the guy that had like that slow leg he kind of pulled around. Yeah. Which you didn't tell me about. Which is just weird to kind of see somebody kind of drag a little leg around.
You're like, when are you going to mention that?
Well, also he's a doorman, so I guess he's not really walking around a lot.
Yeah. That's going to be a tough
But then
job.
and like I was already not really attracted to him.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm going to just get coffee or whatever tea. And then he starts telling me about his 3 roommates he's living with. And I'm like, Jesus, guy, like what? Yeah, like,
yeah.
And he's like, but it's a really big apartment. And I was like, oh, where is it? And then it also is in an area where you can never find parking. I'm like, so this is just a triple X.
Yeah. That should be mentioned when dating. Like, I live in an area with great parking.
That is more attractive to me than a guy that's super hot.
Yeah, well, that was the thing with the guy that I was dating that wasn't into. He lived in Brooklyn. I lived in Astoria. And you're like, I might as well just date someone in another state.
That's too far.
It really is. I could only do it during the weekday because there's an express train from Astoria to Brooklyn. But on the weekend, it was just like
I remember Liz was dating a guy that lived really like an hour and a half away, and she had a joke about how we should fuck how we eat locally.
Yeah.
Which is funny, but it's true. Like, that's an hour and a half away. I could drive to Philly.
Yeah. I was thinking, because part of the attraction with Joe is that he lived 1 block away from me. It really did make things easier.
Much easier, yeah. And he's a comic, so we had the same schedule.
Yeah. There's a lot that plays in. That's why some people, when they're
location. That's how you guys, a location. Well, my friend who will do Tinder or something, she'll be like, I want to date in like 0.2 miles radius.
Yeah. It doesn't make it a huge, but in New York, it's just not easy to date if you don't live nearby me. I'm like that with friends. If people are like I have a friend out in Long Island. He's like, he used to be a comic, and he's like, we should all hang out. And I'm like, Dan,
you should be like,
when are we hanging out? You should be like, you have a family.
Come to New York, like New York City, not like Long Island.
Yeah, but I'm like, I got work and I got shows at night, and then I go out of town, and then I have time for this, and then Joe. I'm like this. I'm not gonna hang out. I don't want. It felt rude, but you're just like, we're not hanging out.
You should have just said to him, start doing stand-up again.
Yeah.
We'll see each other at shows once in a while.
Yeah.
I wonder who.
Those are my friends. Dan Allen.
I don't even know who that is. Oh no, I do know who that is.
Yeah, remember him? He used to run Sacapuntas.
Really tall guy. Yeah.
Super nice.
Nice guy.
He settled down, had 2 kids, and got married. Has a nice life.
Yeah, he has to just say goodbye to you. That's all he could do.
Or listen to the podcast.
Yeah, listen to the podcast, and he'll be like you're hanging out. I actually know him. It'll be like he's hanging out with 2 friends.
I know.
One friend and one not that much friend.
Yeah.
Because he would never book me on that show either.
Oh, he was so precious.
I know, and isn't it weird, like, he was so precious about that show, and now he quit. You know, where you're like, what was the point, Dan? You could have put me on your crummy free bar show.
And I have held resentments. I remember holding resentments towards him about that, but in a lighthearted way. But, like, I remember emailing people to do their shitty bar show, and then them being like, oh, we're really booked up. Oh, I don't book it. You need to send a tape. We're 6 months. We're so booked up at 6 months.
I remember.
And then I would run a show, and then I would say yes to anybody, and if they were eating it, I let them early, or it didn't really derail the show.
Right, if you're doing a show where people are paying $25 admission, then sure, maybe, but like a free show?
Yeah.
Also, you quit stand-up. So, how committed were you? I couldn't do your dumb show, and now you don't even do stand-up.
Did it even work out for you to be so precious?
Maybe if he had me on the show, I would have helped his career.
Well, speaking of, I remember helping his partner, Ray DeVito. I'm just going to say his name. I don't care.
Ray DeVito, I have a funny story about.
I helped him edit a video, and he's like, oh, man, I wish I could repay you. I don't know. There was something, and I go, can I do your show? And he was like, ooh. Isn't that douchey? I couldn't do Sacapuntas.
Oh, wait, he was also booking Sacapuntas?
Yeah, he and Dan were doing it together. I was like, I helped you edit a video. I also had a credit at the time, but I just wasn't, I was so new to the scene that most people didn't know me, but I was like, you can't give me 5 minutes, even though I help you edit a video?
Yeah, I had a funny story about him where we were at a show. We were, I think, in Queens together at a show.
Yeah. And
he found out I had a car, and he asked me to give him a ride to Brooklyn. And I go, I live in the Bronx, and that's not going to happen. He goes, well, it's on the way. And
it's not on the way.
I was like, it's only on the way if you get out of the car at 70 miles an hour. Like, other than that, if I have to pull over and get out of an exit, it's not on the way. He's never let me live that down. He will always ask me. And then he asked me another day for a ride, and I drove him. But he always brings it up. And I'm like, it's so annoying. Because people without cars don't know how annoying it is to drive people around.
Especially in this town. You're doing bridges, there's tolls.
Yeah, Queens to Brooklyn when I live in the Bronx, it's the total opposite way.
Yeah, there's traffic. You never know when traffic's going to hit. It's also, I think it's inappropriate to ask somebody to take you home when it's not in the same borough.
And then when they're like, hey, no, it's not close to me, for them to get mad.
And then bring it up 10 years later.
He also didn't book me on Sacapuntas, whatever that fucking show's called. It's also interesting where comics won't book you on their shows, and then they want you to donate to their GoFundMe. And you're like, Go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
How about
go
that?
fuck yourself. I love that. I love. You guys got those are Dan Allen. We didn't shit on, but I don't mind shitting on Ray DeVito.
I don't either, and Ray's just like an average comic. So
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
why wouldn't he put us on his show?
I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like he's Hannibal, who like had this thriving, huge career where he's like, I'm gonna be picky. And even Hannibal will put anyone on his show at the
Yeah,
Meat
he was
Factory.
still really nice about it.
Yeah.
He'd give him 5 minutes. I don't understand the whole like. I mean, of course, at the cellar, it's like different when people are paying money and there's a
Sure,
brand
but these
to
are
have
like
it.
bar shows.
But they were bar shows. And then you know what's really funny? Then you become friends with them, and you wanted to be like, yeah, what was that about?
You should ask him.
Yeah.
Next time I see him and he asks me for a ride, I'm gonna say, how come you didn't book me in Sacapulcos, whatever it's called?
Oh man.
It is interesting to go back and see people who have quit. Like, you know who's really funny, and I don't think he does stand-up anymore?
Ew.
Jason Good.
Oh yeah.
Really funny. Had 2
Great.
kids.
He's not even on Twitter anymore.
I think he just got burnt out by the system. I think at one point he said, am I going to beg to do a show at the Lantern when I have 2 kids at home?
I know.
And honestly, like, he's really funny, and I think if he stuck with it, he could have probably been a big name.
Yeah. I remember him. He was great on Twitter. I had a thought about him the other day. I was like, he
I think
must
he
have
wrote a
quit
book.
Twitter. He did. But he's not. He used to be on there all the time, and we'd always have exchanges.
Yeah.
There was another guy. Wasn't that great, but super nice. He always ran Village Lantern. Steve, remember him? And then he got married.
Steve Russo?
Yeah.
He used to do the Village Lantern, I think, open mic.
Yeah.
Right?
He would run it.
Yeah. And then I think he quit stand-up.
Yeah.
I saw a guy.
But he had no drive for it. He was like, I
No.
just like this for the social, and it's a creative outlet.
Yeah, that's kind of how John Morrison was.
Okay.
He booked a show.
I remember
He-
the
he was-
Morrison Hotel stuff.
Yeah, he'd
Yeah.
book a show. He'd do it once in a while, but like he was, he had a pretty good paying job, I think. So,
Yeah.
like,
There's a lot of guys, like, remember Craig Baldo?
yes. What happened to him?
He was like an ad executive that got high-end jobs or whatever, and I think he just didn't need it. He was a funny guy.
Very funny. He hosted
Our
our.
Montreal showcase.
And I remember the first female comic that went up ate it.
Yeah, that wasn't a really great night of stand-up.
And then I was going on. He goes, guys, we have another woman coming up. I remember that's how he introduced me. He's like, are we ready for another woman? And then I had like a good set. He was like, all right. But like, it was a weird introduction.
Yeah. I remember being like, I think I had a decent set, but not a hot set.
I think that was the first time I saw your stand-up. I thought it was really funny. But that was at Broadway Comedy Club.
Yeah, I was like, it was my friend. You just get nervous. And then, it wasn't like a hot night.
It was not great. But I do remember Craig Baldo. I guess he quit, right?
It seems like it. I wonder how they're doing, don't you? I want to interview people that have quit.
Well, you know what's really funny?
Did J.L. Colvin quit? He's funny.
JL's funny. He keeps putting out albums.
But I'm like, where is he going up? I never see him in the city. He just does the
I don't-
road.
I think he's also burned a lot of bridges being like super honest, which is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
cool JL, but like it's not gonna help you.
I know. I admire it when I see it, but at the same time, you're like, you're just gonna have to be our martyr.
I guess so. I mean, I think he was in the vein of Patrice a bit, and he used to open for Patrice,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I never see him do stand up. You know who quit that was really funny, but like just I think got into drugs and drinking and shit? Larry Bailey. Black dude, tall. He was really
I
funny.
don't remember him. I was thinking of Larry Bea.
No, he was.
He still does it.
Yeah, he's really funny. He actually got married, I think, to Esther Pardo.
I don't remember her.
She did stand up too. There's a lot of people that quit,
Yeah.
but it doesn't seem like enough.
No. And then it's weird when they pop back up again.
Where they're like trying it back out.
And you're like, it's not the same when you come back. I remember when Kelly Festuca moved, she was here. She's
She's
kind of
in
making
Australia.
some way. She moved to Australia and then she came
Well,
back
she
and then
lived in Australia
yeah.
and she came here.
and she
Okay.
came back again to try it, and then she was saying that it was just tough the second time around. You got to keep the momentum.
Yeah, to like leave and come back again.
Yeah.
I think in a way I was probably fortunate that I'm from here.
You
Because I have nowhere to go back to.
I know, that's just the thing. If you guys can take anything, if you're doing anything, you have to just keep doing it.
Yeah, but didn't you get advice from Alan who was like, you can't, like, expect to get money from this or something?
Yeah.
It's like, well, then no, I would not do that. Like, if I was just going to do this for fun, it's like, no, getting home at 1 a.m. on a Tuesday is not fun.
I'm still was kind of confused with what I took from Alan on that one, where he's like, you shouldn't be doing this for the money, and you're like, I don't know how to pay I don't want to
Yeah,
do
you're
the
doing
other.
it for the money.
I'm like, I don't want to do the others. Should I not do receptionist for the money?
Yeah, it's like, no, I want to be able to, like, I'm not, even if you have a stamp collection at some point, you're like, I'm just wasting money on these dumb stamps.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're like, this has to be really enjoyable or like financially beneficial.
Well, I do enjoy it when I don't have, like, I like it. I just don't like the high pressure sets or having somebody like judge me for it. Or I also hate the fact that, like, if you don't get spots, then you're like, did I do something that they just don't think I'm good enough?
Well, this is an incredibly self-centered business. So there's
Yeah.
bookers who want to do stand-up that don't have the balls to do it. Not all of them, but some of them. So they use that, like, over people.
Yeah.
And then you have, it's just a highly competitive field, especially in New York City.
Yeah. It's a bummer.
It is. Guys, I think we've talked about wanting to quit stand-up a lot. And we're not even talking about quitting it because we're too far in at this point. You know what I mean? Like, imagine starting over now at like 41 in a different profession.
Yeah.
They'd be like, what have you been doing for 15 years? And you'd be like, stand up, telling jokes people are getting offended by.
I was telling that to my sister. I was like, what am I supposed to, I can't get a job. Or like, I guess I could, because when I temp, they're always like, do you want to work here?
Yeah, you could get a job, but it's not going to be a career.
Yeah. And then my sister's like, people have a job, and like, you don't know how people treat stand-up.
Oh, yeah.
They think what we do is stupid.
I think we're reduced, except if you're break through that ceiling and you're at a level where people are like obsessed with you.
Yeah, but then also, I talked to Joe about it, and he was like, and then they have to look at you because you failed because you're you're starting this career.
The people that you're working with?
Yeah,
How do they
like
even
meaning
know?
where there's like,
you mean like interning at 45 with
Yeah.
like 18 or 22 year olds?
well, no, just being like, you're like, no, comedy is like a job, and then they're like, oh, sure, if you were so good, then why are you back here? Like, there's a little bit of your ego that's squashed. It feels like you failed as a comic.
You mean if you quit?
Yeah.
Well, then you failed as a comic. if
Yeah,
you quit.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, why not? Why are we bringing that up? I'm not bringing up your divorce and your bankruptcy. Like, why are we
They're
getting
like,
so
how
personal?
did you know about my bankruptcy?
I'd be like, because I've searched for you
I know
on
what
the
your credit
internet.
score is, and it's
Yeah.
really embarrassingly low.
522? I
Mine's
know.
780.
That's amazing. Mine's probably like 320. Is that the lowest?
It's pretty low.
I don't know what it is, but it's
I think
not
it
high.
doesn't go I think once you get to the 500 mark, then it doesn't really matter. It doesn't go much lower. I'm sure somebody knows more, but from what I gather, they always do it as a chart, and I never see anything like low.
300.
Yeah. But
Yeah, my
whatever.
credit score is awful. My credit score is my herpes. It's something that's going to affect a partner in an eye's life.
You don't bring it up on the first date or
No.
third. You bring it up when
It's
you're
in
like,
the
we're in the beginning of a relationship. If you want to continue,
It's in the small dick category.
yeah.
There's other stuff I could do to change it, but am I really going to?
Yeah.
The guy with a small dick, is he going to eat box for an hour? He should,
Yeah.
but he's probably not going to.
No. I mean, he probably doesn't have the energy to do that.
Well, do you think it's because he has low testosterone? Does that relate to how big your dick is?
Or like his lips are so like thin lady lips.
Where he can't even like lift a pen to sign
You're
stuff.
like, I don't even feel you on my clit.
Oh my god. You're just like, is it in? You're like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah. Boy. Sex is so crazy.
I like how we brought it back there.
Yeah. We do hit it a lot. But it's a common theme throughout any kind of stand-up anyway. I think it's just like, it's wild.
Yeah, and also just
It's also uncomfortable.
sex or the conversation about it.
The conversation about it.
With somebody, for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Like, I never talked about sex with my parents, did you?
my mom taught us how to put a condom on a banana, which is also overselling the size of a dick, but not really. She never really talked to us about actual sex.
Yeah, never, like, you should have sex with a guy that treats you nice. Like
I think my mom
you should never do anything in bed that you don't want to do.
Right. No, my mom didn't talk to us really about anything.
Yeah. If he's having straight doggy style and never wants to look at your face, he's not that into you. You know what I mean? Like,
Maybe my mom's only had doggy style and thinks that's how sex is. Who knows? Who knows what she's been doing?
well, that's what I try to tell with Alan. I'm like, yeah, my mom got married when she was 19. There's no life knowledge there. They just thought
No.
their relationship is what they think all relationships are.
Was that her first boyfriend?
Yeah. Well, she dated, but I think first serious or intimate.
Mm-hmm. My mom, let's see. My mom got married to my biological father. Then I think she's only had sex with her husbands. Like before they got married, I guess, but.
Yeah, so there's no like, I don't know. Like, some moms I remember being like, I'd be over at my friend Dee Dee's house and then she'd be like, Mom, what are we supposed to do about our bushes? And I'm like, I can't imagine talking to my mom like, and my mom and they would have a funny, hilarious dialogue about like,
Sure. Also,
maintenance. And then the idea of being like, hey Mom, what are we supposed to do about our bushes? Like, am I supposed to cut them, take care of it, or like?
I feel like anyone named Dee Dee is gonna talk about whatever they want. That just seems like the type of name where you're gonna talk about anything.
But like, if I did that to my mom, my dad would be like, Sarah, you do not disrespect your mom like that.
I thought you say you do not disrespect your bush like that for cutting it. I'm trying to think.
Or like,
My mom is okay, so I don't really talk to her anymore since I told her I was gonna tap dance on her grave. Did I tell you what she did? I did tell you. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. But my mom was like dating and following the rules. Like she was actually doing that.
okay, that's
We're like-
the book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. On like, kind of like how to get a man.
Yes. In her 60s, she's like following the rules. It's
Okay.
like a little late. You're almost dead.
Also, the whole thing of like, don't sleep with them on the second day.
Second day.
or
I think my
whatever,
mom
like,
said you wouldn't sleep with someone for until at least 3 months.
that's hilarious.
I'm like, good luck dating out there. You're not gonna make it.
Here's my thing. I always heard that, and it always made me laugh as you got older when you hear younger girls being like, yeah, I just don't want him to think that I'm that kind of girl. I'm like, okay, so he's dating you and you're not sleeping with him. That's fine. That's up to you. But just know he is also sleeping with other people. So if you want to get off, you should just go get off.
I think some people are very religious though.
No, I know, but the whole, like, she's only doing it because she wants him to like her.
My mother?
No, this girl. Like,
I
when
thought you meant
girls
my
talk
mother.
like that, like, when they're like, I want him to like me and respect me, so I'm not going to sleep with him until, like, maybe, like, a month in. And I'm like this. I don't think it matters. I know people that have slept together with each other right away, and they're still married.
Yeah, I don't think there's one thing that applies to everybody.
Yeah, I just feel like those rules are so...
Also, what happens if you wait and then it's like terrible?
Small
And then-
dick.
Small dick, it's not good. There's
Or-
no chemistry, and then you've wasted 3 months.
Or he's kind of like this weirdo, mixes violence in with his sex.
Yeah, you're like, I wish I would have just got punched right away.
Yeah, and that way I would have
Gotten out.
gotten out rather than like formed really deep feelings and then have to let this one wear a
You'd be
helmet
like,
while I have sex with you.
This guy was great until he started punching me.
Well, like, I had that happen with that one guy within the first few hookups, and I remember being like, there was a part of me, it felt really demoralizing, but this other time I was grateful that it happened so early
Yeah.
that I was like, yeah, I'm kind of glad that we had sex early, so I knew that he had this kind of weird abusive behavior.
Yeah, to get it fucking out in the open.
Yeah. You know what's so annoying about him? I see him tweet like,
Oh, he's a huge feminist, right?
Yeah.
I think once you punch a few women, you're like, I have to be a feminist. Like, I think it's just like, you have to, like, even Cosby being so clean and like going
Yeah.
after people for their genes, it's like, oh, now we know what you were hiding.
Yeah. It is really, I'm not saying all clean comics or people that are virtuous are bad people, but there are a lot of those guys.
That are like acting like that in front of people and then behind closed doors being somebody else. And I know a couple of them.
Oh, that cheat on their wives all the time. And that they're like, I don't do dirty jokes. And you're like, well, you're a piece of shit.
It'd be like, no, but you're shitting on girls' chests when you're fucking them.
Yeah.
You're like, so, I don't know, maybe say fuck on stage.
Yeah, like, what? Who cares?
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
This was a fun long one.
It was a fun long one. We had a little break.
We did.
It's an intermission. We like to call them intermissions.
Inners.
Or phone times.
Phone times.
Instagram. Rate us on iTunes. Give us money to Patreon. We got one new member, thank you.
Ooh, nice. I think we got 2.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, I don't know.
I know we lost one, but that happens usually at the beginning of the month when people...
Oh, like, I want to get rid of $5.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I have to do that soon with all the streaming that I have. I didn't know Netflix was $12.99.
Oh, did you see that? Somebody sent it to me.
What is it?
They were like, this is a nightmare for Netflix. It's like Disney's platform.
Do we get off right now? Are we done with the podcast?
Wait, I just want to show you this.
Oh, okay.
If it comes up. This was a dog dressed like Prince for Halloween. Oh, we got to talk about that off. Maybe we could do a Patreon about that.
Okay.
A top tier.
Okay.
Like 5-minute thing. I can't find it now, but it was like all like I think on the
it's a good cliffhanger.
Oh, that's true, but I think on the 12th that's when Disney streaming network starts, and it has like everything. Like it's got to be a nightmare for Netflix.
Oh my god. Well, Netflix's programming is not that great a lot lately.
Yeah, and they're losing a bunch of stuff.
Well, they give money to a lot, like the way that, I don't know. I think it's actually pretty crazy to give Eddie Murphy $70 million.
And then ask me to take a later flight
Yeah.
to save $800.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
Thank you.
All right. No,
Bye.
we
I'm
don't
just
say
kidding.
that. But
We love you, Netflix.
we love anyone that gives us money. Thank
Yeah,
you. Thanks for
bye.
listening. Bye, guys.